Hello students, welcome back to Neeta's Business Studies class. In our previous class, we studied about the recruitment, one of the staffing process, and its types, the external and internal recruitment with the merits and demerits. And in today's class, we're going to study about selection, another step or process of staffing, selection. So what is this selection? Meaning of selection? Selection is the process of identifying and choosing the best person out of a number of prospective candidates for a job. Selection is a process of picking or choosing the right candidate who is most suitable for a vacant job position in an organization. So selection means selecting the best, choosing the best in common words in general terms. So when you are going to select in an organization is you will have a heap of application through external sources of recruitment, and when this heap of application is scrutinized and screened out, that is what is called as selection. Selection means to go through all the application. There are so many proceedings to be followed, procedures to be followed, and formalities to be followed in selection process, and choosing the best among the prospective candidates, whoever has applied for job, to choose the most suitable one is what is called as selection in an organization. And this is one of the main and very important, you can say, function of management. So we'll study the process of selection one by one. First one is preliminary screening. The second one is selection test. The third one is employment interview. The fourth one is reference and background checks. The fifth one is selection decision. The sixth one is medical examination. The seventh one is job offer. And the eighth one is contract of employment. So these are the 8 very important process or steps of selection: preliminary screening, selection test, employment interview, reference and background check, selection decision, medical examination, job offer, and contract of employment. So this is what is selection proceeding or procedure or process of selection. In today's class, we are going to do just preliminary screening and the selection test, because we have different types of tests to be studied. So we'll start with the preliminary screening. So preliminary screening, the first step of selection process. Preliminary screening helps the manager to eliminate unqualified candidates. It helps to reject the unsuitable persons based on the information supplied in the application forms and for the reasons which did not appear in the application forms. Yes, as I said earlier, preliminary screening is the very first important step of selection process. What happens here is the heap of applications are scrutinized and screened out, and the unqualified, the unsuitable candidates' applications are rejected, and only the fit ones, the most suitable ones, the right ones are selected, are actually eligible for another stage or proceeding, that is selection test. So preliminary screening is the first primary function, you can say, or proceeding or process in selection, wherein all the heap of application form is screened out, it's scrutinized, and it helps the manager to eliminate the unfit and unqualified candidates and to go for only the most suitable and fit and qualified candidates according to what they have mentioned and according to what they have not mentioned in the application form. So this is what is preliminary screening, the primary process or the first most important process in selection. And after this preliminary screening is done, the next step, whoever has passed through the stage, whichever application is selected in the preliminary screening process, will be eligible for the next round or next process, that is the selection test. So selection test helps to measure certain characteristics of candidate such as aptitude, intelligence, personality, etc. So the application form, whichever is selected through preliminary screening, these candidates are called for writing the test, and this test can be as a mechanism either a paper and pencil test, or it can be an exercise, it can be according to the organization's choice. So this is what is going to measure the certain characteristics of individuals. Their characteristics can be their intelligence, it can be their personality, it can be their attitude, it can be their aptitude. So all these things are going to be measured and tested in this selection test. So we'll study that test one by one. So we have different types of selection test. The first one is intelligence test. Second one is aptitude test. The third one is personality test. The fourth one is trait test. The fifth one is interest test. So these are the types of tests we have in our selection test. We'll study this one by one. Here comes the first one, the intelligence test. So intelligence test is one of the very important psychological tests. It is very useful, and it helps a manager to measure the level of intelligence quotient of an individual. So it is an indicator of a person's learning ability or the ability to make decisions and judgments. So this is very important to see the IQ level of a person, to test and measure the IQ level of a person. This intelligence test is conducted, and this will show and help the manager to know the person's learning ability, decision making ability, and the judgment ability. So this is very important test, one of the type of test. Next type of test is aptitude test. This test will help to measure the person's ability to learn new skills. It also indicates the person's capacity to develop and grow. Yes, the potential or the willingness, the capability of learning new things. That is what is measured in this test, aptitude test. It is to measure the individual's potential for learning new things, whether he is willing and whether he has the capability, whether he or she has the ability of learning new things. It also indicates the person's capability or capacity to develop and grow. So this is what will measure the future success of a person. So aptitude test is to see the ability of that person's real, you can say, potential for learning new skills and to train himself. Next one is the personality test. So personality test will help to measure the overall personality of a person, such as the emotions, the maturity level, the value system, etc. So personality test is something related to a person's overall personality. So that is why it becomes difficult to actually design and implement such test from on the part of the management and the organization. So personality test is to give certain, or it helps the management to know a person's emotions, his or her reactions to certain situations, maturity level, value system, etc. And this test is something which is again very important to know the overall personality and character of the person. Next one is trait test. So this test helps to know the actual skill possessed by an individual. It helps to measure the level of knowledge and proficiency in the area of profession or technical training. So trait test is something wherein it will measure actually what knowledge and skill the person or the candidate has. Okay. So trait test is something to see whether that person possesses that knowledge and skill what he has or not. So this is what is trait test. So it will measure the existing skill of the individual, whatever that person is possessing or having. So this is what is to measure the level of knowledge and proficiency in that particular area of profession or technical training. So here you should know the difference between aptitude test and trait test. So aptitude test is always to measure the potential, the willingness or the capability of learning new things, okay, in future. But trait test is something wherein the management and the organization will measure the actual skill possessed, which is already there in that candidate, whether it is present or not is tested in this trait test. The last test is the interest test. So this test will help to measure the level of interest or involvement of a person in a particular job. It helps to know his passion and fascination for a particular job than that of the others. So everybody will have their own interest, everybody will be having certain passion towards certain particular job, and their fascination towards a particular job rather than the other jobs. So this is what is measured in interest test. Actually the candidate or individual, in what is his interest, where is his interest lying, interest area lying on, this is what is measured in interest test. So it is used to know the pattern of interest or involvement of that person So where is his passion, where is his fascination, what is he actually interested in, what is he specialized in, what is he good at, is what is interest test, and this is conducted to know the real interest of that particular person. This is all for today's class, dear students. The rest of the process of selection we shall do and study in the next class. I hope you have understood. Thank you.